Alrighty, guys. Bottom left corner. Green Protoss player. Who is he, Kevin?
It is Grubby, none other than Grubby. He has chosen Cloud Kingdom, of course, as this last map, and he goes up against our Orange Terran player in the upper right-hand corner, fighting for his tournament life as well. It is Razor Illusion.
Alrighty, so Illusion with the last game got a great engagement towards the end. Grubby actually clicked on his unit, saw that they were 2-2, but +3 hit right then and there, and that's when Illusion was able to get a really good engagement. Actually, a majority of the Marauders are cut up. It was just the Marines that were left over, and I feel like Grubby, if the upgrades were 2-2, he may have been able to hold that a little bit better, but unfortunately, the +3, that's a lot of damage out of Marines.
Oh, certainly, and I mean, it was an interesting decision, too, in the final engagement around the 4th to pull back all 4 of the Templar. He knew there were a lot of ghosts. He knew that he had to be able to protect those. I'm not saying that if he had those storms available right there, he would have been able to win that engagement because it was a very powerful force from Illusion, but maybe it could have helped him stem the tide a little bit, focus on cleaning up what was happening at his 3rd base at the same time. In any case, ended up as kind of a rough scenario. Yeah,
something else to note as well, the double-pronged aggression, the drop into the main that killed a lot of the pylons that were on the gateways, as well as the small force that came in the natural and killed off a lot of probes. All that actually made Grubby slow down his production into Colossi. You saw him make a lot of Immortals, but he couldn't go into Colossus production quick enough, or he wouldn't have enough ground units essentially to hold off any pushes. So those 2 major plays in the game really put Illusion ahead and made him secure the win.
All right, so it looks like Illusion's going to do the same thing we saw last time. With his scouting SCV, he starts constructing the supply depot as he makes his way out of there. And taking a look at things, Grubby's not really deviating from his path either. Once again, not scouting, same thing he did last time. Went with his own prepared build, and we'll see if he ends up doing the same thing here. I don't know, I feel like this is going to come down once again to early aggression, but I don't know who's going to go for it. Well, we already have, of course, the gas coming down from Illusion, so he has the potential to move back into Marauders like we saw last time, be a little more flexible, moving the factory tech. There's a lot of options at his disposal, but I really feel like we're going to see early aggression win this game.
Banshees are pretty cool in this play. I want to see Illusion's Banshees. I used to watch his stream all the time, and his Banshees were so good, man. He literally would get 10 to 15 kills on probes with one Banshee. And even if he didn't go for Cloak, he was just really good at maneuvering between a main and natural and a majority of the maps. But yeah, with him opening with that gas, he'll be able to fall up into whatever he would like. Checking into Grubby, he hasn't pulled off the 3rd probe quite yet, so he has the capacity here to move into an aggressive one-base strategy if need be. With the Zealot popping out, he's going to try to get away, but unfortunately he pulls away too quickly. Probes will kill it off. Now let's see if he pulls that probe off, which would allow him to go for an expansion. He has not. He has stayed 3 probes on the assimilator here.
Yeah, just producing that Stalker, getting his Warp Gate technology in check. Very similar to what we saw him do against Lucifron. So we'll see what his plan is from here on out. But back on Illusion's side, 2nd command center being constructed inside of his main. He got enough of a scout there, saw the delayed 2nd base, and decided that this gas was just going to be used, for the time being at least, to produce some reactor Marines, get out there a little bit, and eventually have the flexibility to move up in tech. And there's a factory.
Yep, so moving straight into the factory here, which means he can move into Hellions, which is meant to snipe a majority of any sentries that pop out. Grubby has been falling up into double sentry after his first Zealot and Stalker. Whatever first composition he pops out, he does follow up with double sentries no matter what. And Hellions, if you get 2 or 3 over them, are actually really, really darn good at getting rid of those very quickly. So that could be the possibility here for Illusion. The Zealot and Stalker, though, is already making its way straight into the main.
All right, well, Illusion, actually, the vision of these units is granted to Grubby, so he's able to pick away very quickly at one of those Marines, doing some significant damage. Of course, those Marines decide to move back up a little bit. They are going to be damaged once again, although a couple more are starting to join the fight. If he can target fire down the hurt ones, he will get a little bit for the damage that was taken on the Stalker, and indeed does land 1 Marine kill.
Well, nice patience there from Illusion, but the good thing for Grubby is Grubby did see that the reactor on top of that barracks. Did he actually see the factory as well?
So I believe so, but it's in the air, so it's not going to show it here. Okay, yeah, well, he did definitely see it, yeah.
So he saw the factory, so he can assume that Hellions will be a straight-up follow-up here from... And he's actually going to poke in to make sure he gets the scouting information possible. Oh gosh, that Stalker is so low on HP. So from here, he'll actually probably follow up into a little bit more easier defense instead of actually going for sentries. Could get a nice amount of Stalkers here, get them on the high ground. Pretty nice to have against any Hellion pressure that comes your way. And he has followed up into 4 gates here, so we'll have a nice amount of gateway units.
4 gates in total, and these Hellions will actually have enough damage to be able to take down this Stalker, unless this is microed perfectly, and even with that, it looks like the Stalker does fall, and of course these Hellions dish out a ton of damage to light units, Zealots of course being the light unit available for the Protoss here at this stage of the game, and that's going to be chased down.
Oh, but there is a pylon up in the top right corner. Stalker's warp in right away, and that should give Illusion that potentially some aggression could be coming his way. If he has units coming from that side of the map, that means generally that there is a pylon there. And from here, he's actually moving straight into a siege tank. He's going to be able to have some nice defensive capabilities here from that full gate pressure that could be happening from Grubby.
Now, of course, despite the fact that he did build a second orbital command very early on in this game, he hasn't been able to take advantage of that at all. It's not really reaping him an economic benefit. He's not producing any workers from it. Yes, he's utilizing them for mules, but he'd love to be able to set that down, but he's just too afraid of any sort of aggression.
Oh wow, a forward pylon coming for Grubby as well. He's actually bringing the rest of his units down. All he wants to do is set up a soft contain here and prevent that orbital, as you mentioned, from actually landing inside the natural. With the Marine zone on the high ground, should be able to fetch that pylon, but he'll be able to sit out here with sentries, keep units from running down straight into the natural. And from here, really, Illusion can't expand until Siege Mode finishes up. Good news for him is he's already got a little quarter of the way done.
And Grubby is, in fact, going to warp in at least one round of units from it, so he loses 100 minerals, but gets those Stalkers a little bit closer to the front. The rest of the warp-ins are happening down around the side, back to that original pylon. 2 siege tanks sitting on the high ground. Siege mode is still about 25 seconds away, 35 seconds away, as a matter of fact, so Grubby can't get too much damage done, but what he is effectively doing, containing his opponent.
Yeah, and a few more seconds till Siege Mode does pop up, and Grubby knows of a normal timing. He saw the Siege tanks out, so you can assume that Siege Mode will be finishing up very soon as well. So he does retreat back. Would have liked him to actually just sit outside the natural a little bit longer instead of going up that ramp, but he took too much damage, and that forced him to retreat. Illusion now, with Siege Mode, will push out across the middle of the map. He does have Stim Pack, but no Medivacs on the field quite yet.
But it's just at the 9-minute mark that he's able to set down his second orbital command. You can see he's down by 14 workers. His base was oversaturated with 30 workers and double mules on it. It's being pulled away really, really quickly. And yes, it is actually, sorry, my apologies, as Grubby loses a couple of units, tries to force shield in and pick off a couple of bio units, but good reaction from Illusion to siege up those tanks and pick away at Grubby's forces.
Grubby is slowing down this push so much. You need to focus down those sentries. We'll be able to get a couple of units out. Siege tanks do siege up though and put a lot of damage down on top of there, even with that Guardian Shield being popped. The force fields are landed, but again, he's just building time here so we can get the Immortals out. One is about to pop out. That's going to be very helpful against Siege tanks. Actually, on Cloud Kingdom, it's pretty easy to deal with Siege tank pressure if they get a little bit too extended into your natural because of, again, that high ground advantage we were talking about in the main. Engagement's constantly happening here. Is there any more force fields available? No, and those Zealots were actually just running straight into a choke here.
Okay, well, there is another sentry finally catching up, and he looks like a scan to pick off the observer that was sitting overhead, but otherwise, just a lot of blows being traded back and forth between these two players now, just kind of swinging at him. But you mentioned it, Grubby's done a really effective job of delaying this push. It forces Illusion to go back home. He's finally saturated now on his second base as well, so he will be able to begin moving into a little bit more conventional bio build, so we see the relevant upgrades on the way.
Oh, okay, so now Stimpak is now on the way, +1 as well. So I actually thought Stimpak was done a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, it was not. So Illusion's actually in a bit of a weird situation here with the Immortal being there to deal with the siege tanks pretty nicely. Grubby, if he does come around that third, can get a nice spread out and move into the natural, and could actually kind of kill off Illusion. Unfortunately, he will be pulling back, and that will allow Illusion to start moving into the upgrades he wants to. The +1, the Stim Pack, starting to get Medivacs on the field here as well. I would actually like for him to go for a really quick third here. I just feel like he's too far behind in economy, and unfortunately he's not doing so. He's actually adding more racks at the moment.
Yeah, so there is a potential that we see one big aggressive push that actually pops out of him here in just a bit. Grubby is not... Okay, there we go, finally expanding now. As we just saw the minerals tick down, the probe moves out across to the third, so he's going to be on 3 bases. He's finally moving up through his own tech tree. No forges have been established yet, so he is going to be a little bit behind on upgrades from his opponents, although with his opponent, of course, just having 1 engineering bay for now, the second still a little ways away from being done. With Chrono Boost, he should be able to maintain a decent little advantage there.
All right, so Illusion has gotten this third up, but as you mentioned, he's going to go ahead and get some aggression down on the field. It's really nice to have that when you have 3 siege tanks before too many Immortals get on the field. There's only, what, 2, actually? Out from Grubby, so...
Let's see, 3.
3 out, okay, so he can actually crush this army pretty easily. I don't expect Illusion to try and get too much aggression off, unless he gets a nice stem off and pokes a couple units off too quickly for Grubby to react.
Good catch there from Illusion. Oh, and he actually could have gotten away with that observer there, but it would have been really quick reaction time from Grubby, who was a little more worried about producing units, upgrades, and structures back at home.
All right, siege tanks are going to siege up. Grubby needs to make sure not to take too much damage from the siege tanks. Zealots are going to take a nice amount of damage here, but Grubby is forced to pull back. He's getting a couple of shots on these pylons. Here we go, Stim up and chasing straight on in, and this was the Stim I was talking about, where he gets a chance to pick off Immortals, and now he cancels out the Nexus as well. His third commander is about to finish up. That's going to give Illusion a small advantage here as he gets the expansion up, and at the same time he's getting more aggressive, moving straight into the main.
Oh boy, and Grubby is way out of position. We saw that this is what turned the tide for him last time as well, as Illusion was able to do damage to the 4th base and pick up and move straight into the main. This time around, Grubby has very quick reaction time with those probes, pulls him away. Going to lose a couple here, here, and did a nice job of not getting those Zealots trapped at the very beginning of that engagement. The Mortals were actually standing in their way, but he shifts those out of the way and makes sure he has the best possible engagement there to defend that.
Illusion noticed that there was only 2 Stalkers there, so he could actually bring the Medivacs in and do more damage, but again, just having patience, because he knew there wasn't that much firepower. There is 1 Stalker here, and these Medivacs are kind of stuck, but if he actually goes for it, he might be able to get out. Nice juking around, actually, will finally get away. Oh, it's going to be very close here. Will the Stalkers be able to focus it down? He's not focusing down the weaker one, though, and it looks like the Medivacs will barely scurry on out.
Wow, so Illusion now just has to duck back over the middle, and indeed he does. Then he can come back up onto the high ground, and he successfully jukes away from Grubby. So very nice play there from Illusion to keep those alive.
Same time, he's got a drop already in the top left corner. There was a third actually on the way for Grubby, but Illusion did a good job of poking it off. So no third Nexus will be up for Grubby for a while here. He's starting to get one now, finally down at the bottom right corner, but another force from Illusion's on the way with those low HP Medivacs.
Oh, and he actually can't see this. So at the same time, we have a drop going on inside of the main. We have the drop happening inside of the natural, too. A couple of Stalkers are here to try and defend this. There are a lot of Zealots that should be able to start pushing these back slowly but surely. Illusion gets out of there with just 2 very hurt Medivacs.
Well, he is trying to force himself into a choke here, but the Zealots aren't very efficient. They did have the charge, so they're able to get on top of those units, but with the Medivacs there, the action has been sniped down because there are no Stalkers. He's able to sustain just enough to be able to kill them off. Guardian Shield has been popped. Finally, a Warpin does happen, but that small force of units actually traded pretty efficiently there, and he's going to get away with the Medivacs on very low HP. Illusion, man, is the king of getting away with the lowest amount of HP on Medivacs.
That was a 2 HP Medivac. That was a 4 HP Medivac before they died. The 2 that are making their way across the map are 26 HP and 27. So what could have been an absolute disaster for him ends up working out all right in the end. Third Nexus is about to finish up again for Grubby, but Illusion has now saturated his own third base.
Well, before we have the engagement in the middle of the map, can we check out these units really quick and see if Illusion's been able to get himself back into an even ground here? As he's gotten his third up. Wow, he just did a really good job there. 63 to 53. He actually gained an advantage after being a little bit behind from all those drops. So awesome play from him.
All right, well, upgrade advantage is considerably in Illusion's favor. Looks like the +2 armor is just about to finish up for Grubby. He'll only be 1 upgrade behind at that point, but it's going to be very critical for him to engage when that happens and not before.
All right, sieging up once again on this low ground, and Grubby's going to have to take some damage here before they walk on by if he gets that advantage. Yes, he does has the height here with the Medivacs, and now the Marine Marauders charging straight in. They're just going to go ahead and focus down this third. Immortals leading the charge. Probes have been, if you can pull off the line, a nice storm there. Another one hits as well. Illusion trying his best to get in, and it looks like these siege tanks are being dealt with too.
Yeah, that's right. So finally, Grubby is able to break this contain just a little bit. I mean, that was a very scary proposition once again, because it had Illusion been able to do the same thing that he did just a second ago. Oh, and he actually doesn't kill the siege tank, so they're still firing away, and both the Immortals are down. Just a couple of Archons remaining, and Illusion has a lot of forces left over.
That 1 upgrade advantage is just doing just enough to help out Illusion here. Pros being picked off, Stalkers coming in, Zealots finally coming in to help clean up this push, but a majority of Grubby's forces were killed off there. Is Illusion going to go ahead and retreat here and keep his Medivacs? Finally, the siege tank is dealt with, doing a nice job of kiting as well, but with Zealots finally popping out, he will force these Marauders to run on away. If he can hold on to these Medivacs and get him grouped up with these units, he'll also have a nice advantage with the Ghost being popped out.
That's right, but Grubby has to pull back right now. He's down by about 30 supply to his opponent. Only 5 of that is in Worker, so most of it is in Army. Don't forget, we already said before that he was down in upgrades. Things are looking a little bit dangerous. He does have a couple of Storms, so if Illusion overcommits here, that could be a lot of damage dealt out.
All right, Storm does hit a couple of those units, but we'll be all right here with the 5 Medivacs available. 2 more are on their way for Illusion. Once he gets his units to go ahead and group up as he's bringing more across the middle of the field here, as he's taking his 4th base as well in the bottom right corner. Grubby doing the same thing as well. In the bottom right corner, he's got a hidden expansion as well. But Illusion's got a lot of firepower here. +3, +2 on the way. Cloak has been queued up as well. 10 Marines at a time are popping out, adding 3 more racks at the same time. His production is going to be off the chain very soon here.
All right, well, already Illusion forced a stim and then comes back into the storm, actually, so eats quite a bit of damage. EMP's hitting a few more forces. It doesn't look like we have many more storms available. In fact, he's just waiting until he can actually get back up to 75 energy, but it's still a little ways away. The damage output from Illusion's forces is just staggering. The AoE, not enough. There's GG. Illusion moves on and eliminates Grubby here from the DICE IPL Showdown in the Hard Rock Hotel.
Grubby playing very well, still lands $1,000 for coming out to the tournament, but still awesome games put on by him against Lucifron and Illusion. Illusion getting his first win over Protoss in a while, though. It's really important for him and shows that, you know, kind of hibernating for a couple months, you can come out and play pretty well.
That's right, but now he's going to be waiting on the person who falls from our next set, which is, of course, going to be Scarlet versus Lucifron. So, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We just put up another giveaway on our Twitter, so twitter.com/IGNProLeague. Retweet to try and win. We'll be right back after this.